Welcome to the series on narcissistic abuse from a Christian family. Today's topic covers the two types of narcissists. First, we have a weak narcissist. This is someone who typically displays the kind of behavior that they are desperate. They are going out of their way, they're trying their best to get you to react a certain way, to enforce their control and power over you. And in most cases, they've realized that they are unable to access your emotions, or in other instances, they've seen you overcome their tactics, they've seen you overcome their attacks. So now what they do is they just go for other people that love you. This would be your family circle, meaning relatives, family, friends, etc., those kind of people. And then they would also go for your Christian circle, meaning your youth group, some elders in the church that really admire you and love you, that kind of thing. And the whole strategy here is that they are going to obviously flip the script and make the incident that happened about you. Moreover, because now they're on a mission, so it has to be more convincing, because they desperately need these people to believe something other than what they've always known about you. So they take it a step further by telling lies on you. Maybe let's say you guys had an argument about them invalidating your feelings. They are then gonna take it a step further and say, oh yeah, by the way, she insulted me. She uses swear words. She's very rude. Which may be shocking to the people that she's sharing that information with. However, because of the hierarchy in the family, this may be your bigger brother, your bigger sister, it may be a parent, an aunt. So because of the source, people are going to believe this person, because it just makes sense that way for some people, and they're not gonna waste their mental energy trying to figure out if it's really true. They're just gonna be like, oh, okay, well, she lives with her or with him, so they definitely know better, when in reality that's not true. And when that happens, here's the aftermath. You now approach your family circle or your church circle unsuspecting, completely unaware of what has been done behind your back, absolutely oblivious of the smear campaign that has taken place. And you get the rude awakening when you start interacting with people and you see them engage with you differently. Someone that was just smiling and giving you a hug after a church service is suddenly gonna ignore you when you greet them. Someone that you were really close with, maybe an aunt or uncle that you admired and had respect for, and then all of a sudden they're giving you, raised eyebrows and a very cringy look as if you've done something. And you get this passive aggression, which you don't understand, because as far as you are concerned, you haven't done anything. As far as you know and understand, your last interaction with these people was perfectly normal. So it absolutely messes up with your mind. So what does a person do in such an incident? So remember, this is just an example for the weak narcissist. Okay, so now the first step was them trying to attack you on their own, which failed. So because they're weak, they are recruiting other people. So what do? When you are still trying to understand narcissism and you're still at the stage of second guessing yourself, being unsure of what's true and what's not true, you may still have the need and desire to be in those circles. And you may try to explain yourself and try to inquire about, well, what happened? Why has your behavior changed towards me? I remember this one time I was approached by a young lady from church that we grew up with. And she was like, the things I heard about you were just absolutely shocking because I've never known you to be like that. I had tried asking, but she just couldn't even repeat what was said. The way that it was just so bad, she could not even bring herself to repeat it before me because she has experienced me. She knows me, But now she was conflicted with this narrative that she was fed by what seemed like a reliable source, and she just couldn't really balance the two. At the time, because I was still younger in my EQ and in my knowledge and understanding of narcissistic behavior, I didn't do much. I saw that she was resistant to give information, so I just let that be and I pulled back. That's just my natural response to such incidences, even when I was still oblivious to narcissism. So once you then reach a higher level of EQ and you've self-differentiated, you've grown in understanding of what this personality disorder is and what it does, you then disengage. You just disengage. Because trust me, there's absolutely no way you are going to win those people over. There's absolutely no way you will be listened to, heard, and it's just going to take you on another spin of an emotional roller coaster, which is not worth it. So instead of trying to kick and scream to participate in your childhood family circle and social circle in church or whatever, once you identify that you have been smeared and you've been tarnished, just pull back. Save yourself the heartache, the humiliation, because the more you try to express yourself, they're just folding their hands at the back and going like, you see, look at her. She's raging. She's ranting. And she's going on and on. I told you, she's a nutcase, So the more you, because it's like, a child that gets molested by a family member and then tries to report it. But then there's an adult who says, no one's going to believe you. And when the child goes to report it over dinner in front of everyone, the same adult who invalidated the child's feelings and report will then go to say, well, we all know that you are very ill-behaved. So anyway, what you're saying, it doesn't matter. You are such a liar. You're not a good child anyway, So it's that kind of scenario. No matter how much you scream, no matter how much you try to remind people of who you are and wave to say, hey, remember me? I'm not like this. This is not who I am. No, stop. In my head, I once heard this other pastor who was also sharing biblical context of this, saying, don't argue with demons. Just don't. And the best way to defeat this narcissistic demon, because it's a spirit, is to disengage. It is just to disengage. Okay? Right. So now let's move on to the strong narcissists. The one who has all his balls in his court and struts their stuff. Like hardcore stealth narcissist. So this person, again, it can be anyone in your life. Well, in this context, I'm speaking to the family dynamic and within the Christian community. Okay, so this is someone that is going to just annihilate you emotionally and psychologically in private, but then in public or in front of other people, they will act absolutely like angelic. So what does this do? This sends a message to your brain that no one's gonna believe you, because obviously if I'm treating you like trash and I'm speaking down on you in private and I'm verbally abusing you, I'm emotionally and psychologically abusing you, others even go to the extent of physically abusing their family members in private, But then in public, those are the most dangerous ones, because they are not afraid of anything. They have decided and devised that they are gonna have two faces that they show, one for the public and one that you know. Again, the whole narrative in narcissism is that no one is gonna believe you, because a narcissist is gonna do anything. They're gonna go out of their way to protect their image that they've created. They're gonna go out of their way to keep up the appearance that they have created for the public. But then with you, they are enforcing this. And if you do not submit to their narcissism, if you resist what they're doing to you, if you speak up for yourself, if you try to defend yourself, whether verbally or otherwise, you are gonna get the worst kind of rage. These narcissists do not rely on a smear campaign. They know that whatever abuse they are inflicting on you, it is sufficient to keep you under their control. It is sufficient to make you bipolar emotionally and psychologically. That's why you find in extreme cases like physical abuse, they are asked, well, why didn't you leave? And the person is going to be like, but he loves me or she loves me, you know? That is just how far reaching that kind of narcissistic abuse goes. It makes you question your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and the gaslighting that takes place there. It disorients you in a way that is just irreconcilable. So now that I've given two examples of the types of narcissists that we find in the family dynamic, let's then have a look at the impact it has on your relationship with God and overall Christian experience. And the better that they esteem themselves in terms of moral standing. This is synonymous to a man who is cheating, but he's also a pastor, and the wife cares more about protecting his reputation than being authentic, and standing up for herself or standing up for the truth. So instead of the man changing his ways or whatever, it just fuels up his ego and his behavior even more. He becomes a sadistic cheater because he is enabled. The wife then becomes an enabler. So not only is the wife the victim, but she also becomes the enabler. The same thing happens with narcissists within the Christian community. People that are within the smear campaign, right? The campaign targets, which would be your relatives, your youth group, people from church. Not only are they also victims of narcissistic manipulation, but because of their inability to assist or advise with clarity and neutrality, they become enablers, unconsciously or unknowingly. Others, in really rare cases, others are just gonna straightforward be enablers. Some people know exactly what is being done to who and whatever, but because of the perks that they're getting maybe from the narcissist, they are not gonna step in. Instead, they're gonna tell you to shut up. They're gonna tell you that, well, you better listen to them and do whatever they want, kind of thing, you know. So going back to the impacts it has on your relationship with God, it just is the most devastating thing ever, because it distorts, it throws off your intuition, it throws off your EQ, and it puts off your relationship and understanding of God as a whole, because this person is someone that you've always looked up to. And actually, in most cases, it's usually people that are looked up to by a lot of people within these communities that I mentioned, these groups of people. So you just get stuck in this cycle of confusion and helplessness. It gets isolating, it gets lonely and helpless. But thanks to such podcasts and videos, we can unstuck ourselves. We can unlearn certain things that we had learned, which were just mere effects of psychological abuse, right? So once you, if there's anything I've spoken about in this video resonates with you, or you've, you know, you were second guessing yourself about, I'd encourage you to revisit and just reconsider and ask yourself, are the thoughts I'm thinking my thoughts? Or, I'm thinking like this because of maybe a certain incident or a certain person, or it was said to me, it was an instruction that you better do this, or you better think this, or you better say this, And so in this way, when we self-regulate, because narcissist, here's the nugget I want you to take home as I'm concluding the video. Narcissists suck when it comes to self-regulation. The whole thing of narcissistic behavior and narcissistic personality disorder is just a bunch of people that don't know how to self-regulate, do not care to self-regulate, and would rather inflict psychic violence on other people than to self-regulate. That's all it is. So the way that you can win for yourself is to educate yourself as much as you can about these human personality disorders, so that you can identify them, protect yourself, know and understand what steps you need to take for yourself, for your sanity, for your emotional and psychological, physical health even, and also so that you can also be wary of not falling victim to such things. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. That is all we have for now. Be blessed. Till next time.